Want punchy, powerful drums that translate on any system, including iPhones, walking down the street, on your speaker? Meet Orion by Jason Joshua and Cradle, the all-in-one drum bus processing plugin. Might be just what you're looking for. Orion is a streamlined channel strip plugin that replicates Jason Joshua's amazing drum bus processing, incorporating all stages of his signal flow: saturation, harmonics, compression, EQ. And the EQ is very interesting. It's modeled after a plugin called Spectre, which we're going to do a video on as well. And he's got all his parallel routing right in the plugin. It's pretty amazing. It's been out for a while, and there have been a lot of videos done on it, but I wanted to show you how I used it on a track of mine that I've written and produced and mixed. I'm kind of remixing it now, and I'm using this on the drum bus. Let's take a look at the GUI. They say the heart of Orion is this drive section right here. I'm keeping the high pass on, and there's really just 3 modules. We'll go through them each. One thing to watch is how my meters are hitting. When the kick hits, the meters light up. You have to be very careful about going into the plugin. Make sure you're hitting it. Think tape a little bit. You want to be driving into the drive, and if you're not hitting it, the plugin is not going to give you what you want. We also don't want to overdo it. You can drive into it with the input right on the plugin itself, or just from your individual tracks going into your drum bus. Keep an eye on those meters as we listen to A, B, and C. C is very aggressive, but I really like it for this track, and I did like the high pass. Now we're going to move over to the harmonic section, subharmonic enhancements. It has 2 frequency targets, 50 hertz and 80 hertz. These are wide bands. They just sound amazing. Now we're on to the compression. There's A and B, based on the Shadow Hills mastering compressor. Let's listen to both. Very interesting. I feel like the attack is very different, and on B it almost seems like a lot of high end passes through more. I don't know why that is. I'm going to stick with A for now and parallel it again. About 50%. Now we're moving on to lift, which is amazing. This is adding high end saturation, sort of like the black box. It's pretty unique. It's a lot of air and depth in the high end and grit. I'm gonna A-B the plugin itself just to see how the levels are. And you see I'm really close. I'm actually lower in the plugin. Now we move over to the harmonic section, which I believe is based on Spectre, which I use on my mix bus. You do not need a lot to feel this. It's amazing. I love the mid-range in here. Spectre is not really an EQ. It's saturation bands, all different types of saturation, tube, tape. You can get very heavy, subtle, and they look like EQ bands, but they're actually just driving saturation. They feel very different than the numbers. I almost don't pay attention to the numbers when I'm using it. I use it a lot on vocals, on mix bus. Let's check out the 1K on these drums. That's amazing. I mean, that's where I feel like that's the meat, the punch and air in the mid-range from these drums. I think it'll really help in the mix. Let's just check quickly out the other bands, which I don't think I'm going to use, but And I'll come back to this later, but right now we're mixing into Orion. So I'm not using this I'm not going to use this to get too micro about my low end in the kick. Think of it as a global thing you're mixing into. Now we're moving on to the parallels, which is like his signal flow through all his complicated stuff. He uses all the NLS. They are right here for you. The sub is, obviously I'm using the sub, so let's check that out. That is super clean. Adding that, as well as the harmonic section in the 80 hertz, you're doing what plugins like R-Bass and other subsonic plugins do, but it seems very clean to me and really, really great. I'm not using low or loud, but let's check them out. To me, low gets a little muddy in this mix. I don't need it. Let's check out loud. This might be the clipper section. I felt it breaking up a little bit when I went all the way up, and since I'm going to round this whole mastering out with gold clip, I'm going to leave it off. Here's grit. I know I stopped it real quick, but that's amazing. Yeah, if you're listening on headphones or good speakers, you'll hear that crunch, that knocking sound. It sounds like a woody snare. That and the snaps, that's awesome. I'm gonna leave that. Now you'll see my output is still very low. So I went a little farther than I normally do. I don't usually use all these modules. I think it sounds amazing. The drums are still centered. The kick feels very solid. The drums are wrapping around me a little bit. And the only way I can really tell is if I put in a vocal.
Take the leap, we'll be alright. Pull the cord, it's time to fly. Feel the wind.
I think in the mix it really wraps around you in such a beautiful way. I didn't do a lot of A-Bing on that one. I was tweaking, so I'm going to do one more listen A-Bing. I actually think I'm going to try the 50 hertz, which I don't usually do. That's amazing. The 50 hertz gives a whole different, to me it's a whole different color. It really changed the scene because I could already hear her voice in my head. I know the song so well. I feel like the drums sound more expensive now. They're wrapping around me. Everything is clear. Feels wider. It seems more in the picture, in the scene, with her than without. When I bypassed the plugin, I felt like she was singing in a different song. I really love what it's done to these drums. And you'll notice I'm not doing a lot of processing. I wrote and produced this with another producer who did an amazing job with these drums. So there's a couple of things happening, but nothing much. They just seem so well balanced with Orion. Another thing to mention, I was talking about how you mix into it and you keep it on your drum bus. I put it on very early and mix into it. I love what it's doing to all the high-end elements of these drums, but sometimes I treat the hats, the hi-hats and other elements that are much more dense rhythmically and higher separately. And I really focus this on the kick and snare, which it just does wonders to. But in this instance, I love what it's doing to everything. Another thing I want to mention is I have tried unsuccessfully to use Orion on live drums. I haven't used it enough. It just wasn't working for me. There are people I know that I respect so much that use it on live drums. I know it's possible. If you have any tips or tricks that you use, you put it on live drums, please share your experiences with me in the comments. I'd love to know. At this point, I put it on pop, EDM, hip-hop, any electronic drums, or if it's layers on top of live drums. So Orion has been out for quite a while. It's $120. I'll put a link to the website, but you can get a free trial and check it out for yourself. If you're looking for punchy, focused, but yet wide drums that sound expensive right out of the box with minimal fuss, Orion might be just what you're looking for. Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and please remember to like and subscribe. We have a lot more content coming your way, so stay tuned. We'll check you out next time.